All right, y'all, what's good? Welcome to Destination Lavender, a podcast all about healing and self discovery after getting sober. My name is Gianna, and in each episode, I'll be sharing my personal adventures, tips, triumphs, and lessons that have helped me to navigate and better thrive in sobriety. Today is Destination Lavender's 71st episode, crazy, called Making a Mocktail. And then, I'm going to do my thing and give some honorable mentions with CBD because you know how I do. So, if you've been following for any length of time, you'll know that there's something missing from today's episode. It's called the intro song. And the reason is because I'm, for the first time ever in the history of the Destination Lavender podcast, recording a video at the same time. Crazy. So I recall doing a video before I got the podcast on my YouTube where I shared a few NA drinks that I had at the time. And I'm sure throughout the history of Destination Lavender, I have peppered in some NA drinks and NA wine and NA beer and kombucha that I've been rocking with at the time. But I don't think I've ever made a mocktail, during the episode. And although I've definitely recommended also some mocktail recipes for y'all during the holidays or during Pride. So this is going to be the first time that I'm ever doing this. This is obviously going to be a shorter episode. But I thought it would be really cool. What we're going to be making is a virgin Moscow Mule. And the recipe that I got for this lime simple syrup that I'll talk about here in a second, and the recipe for the Moscow Mule comes from ReneeNicolesKitchen.com. Renee with 3 E's, Renee, Nicole, Nicole with an S, because Nicole's Kitchen.com. So let's start with why are we doing a Moscow Mule today? Virgin Moscow Mule today. Honestly, it came across my consciousness the other day. I was watching some video and someone was given a set of copper cups, which is like, if you're not familiar with Moscow Mules, is like a key ingredient in this drink recipe is the copper cup. Helps keep the drink cold. There's a whole history with that. So it was kind of like a thing where she was like, guess what my favorite drink is? And she didn't share what her favorite drink is, which was fine because, the cup speaks for itself. If you are either a drinker or you used to drink, you're typically familiar with a Moscow Mule. They're pretty popular. And so that moment came and went, neither here nor there. And then suddenly I had like a craving. I was hanging out with some friends the other day and we all went out to get virgin Moscow Mules because it was already on my radar and I was thinking about making, replicating this recipe for myself that I had found. And, I kind of had virgin Moscow Mules on the brain. So we went and, I think it was just the time of day that we went to a restaurant in Dunedin that was doing last call, and we all got virgin Moscow Mules, and I was very underwhelmed because there was no copper cup, there was no garnish, it just was lacking things. So I decided that this could be a cool moment to introduce video to the podcast for the first time, and this obviously won't be the last time that I do it, and working out all of the kinks. So you'll get audio and video at the same time. And, thought it would be cool to, instead of just telling you about mocktails, to actually make one on camera and on podcast for you for the first time ever. So with that being said, let's talk about ingredients that you'll need. We'll talk about things that I've chosen to omit from this recipe, this fairly simple, fairly quick recipe as well. And yeah, there's a little bit of a buy-in if you don't have some of this stuff already. So just to put that up front. I think that's also crazy too, as a side note, that because you stop drinking, unless you are gonna like be cool with like tea and coffee and water and juice and that type of stuff, when you want to make a mocktail, like really make it where it has like layers of flavor and it's got nuance and stuff, and it's like, wow, you're gonna have to spend some money. So yeah, just south of $70, and I didn't even get everything that I wanted or needed, I guess, for this recipe, but we're gonna make it do what it do right now. It's gonna be good. So the lime simple syrup, I've labeled it because it kind of looks like pee otherwise in the fridge. So yes, lime simple syrup. Basically, you'll need 2 limes, 2 cups of water, and granulated white sugar. So what you'll do is, 2 cups of water. According to ReneeNicolesKitchen.com recipe, you will do the water first. You'll basically do a 1-1 ratio, which means you'll add just as much sugar as you've added water. So you'll add 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of water. Sounds like a lot, I know, but you're not gonna like glug, glug, glug this thing. It's just a little bit that you're adding to your drinks at a time. In addition to the water and the sugar, you will zest 2 limes. I might have said lemons before. Anyway, limes, for sure limes. You're gonna zest 2 limes and squeeze the juice from 2 full limes into this mixture. It's important to keep stirring, and it's important to stop it and pull it off the heat before it boils, because you don't want that to happen. It'll start to become something else at that time. And then you want to make sure that you give it proper time to cool. So then you can, once it's cooled for at least an hour, you can transfer it to a nice little mason jar like this, or some other glass vessel that has a lid on it that will be sealed airtight. And then, if it's a see-through glass situation like this, make sure you label it so nobody gets freaked out or drinks it by mistake, because it's just gonna be really sweet in large quantities. So it's recommended that you do this before, probably before, like a day before or whatever, or even just give yourself time, the cooling time for it, so that you have it ready to go and it's nice and chilled. And I even had some left over to keep it real. Like, what I'm gonna be pulling from today is this little shot glass, or that's bigger than a shot glass. It's a pretty big shot glass. I haven't had a shot in almost 5 years. So my understanding of what shot glass size is a little bit gone. But yeah, so you'll have plenty left over. Another note on this simple syrup, y'all, I was like looking all over for mason jars. It's like $10 for a mason jar at Publix. Similar at Target and beyond. It's crazy. I went to the dollar store, and this was $1.25. So don't waste your money at these bigger places for a mason jar. It's literally glass with like a little, whatever this metal is, like tin or whatever this is. Yeah, $1.25. That was the cheapest part of this whole thing. So once you have your simple syrup locked and loaded, ready to go, you'll need, aesthetic purposes, you want to get it in, you'll need a copper mug. I got this for $7 at Publix. Normally it's like copper. It looks like they're stainless steel on the inside, but they have the full copper cups where it's copper on the inside, copper on the outside, or a lot of them line the inside with stainless steel. Those cups, I found out online, tend to be cheaper. A full copper mug, you're gonna pay like $10 more or something like that. So you gotta have your copper mug. Have some extra limes on standby for garnish. You might wanna squeeze an extra lime in there. You do need to have, surprisingly, non-alcoholic ginger beer. I thought ginger beer was already non-alcoholic, but apparently you need to have specifically non-alcoholic ginger beer, which I forgot to grab, so I'm gonna grab right now. I think the brand is called Fever Tree. We'll find out. So, it is called Fever Tree. So, Fever Tree plus, I forgot to grab a spoon for the simple syrup. we're moving and we're grooving, and it's happening on the spot. Let's go. Okay, so this is what Fever Tree looks like. Boom. So this is a non-alcoholic ginger beer, and they're pretty tiny, like, gosh, 5.7 fluid ounces. So you might need a couple of these joints to fill up a mug. Who knows? I'm gonna pull out two just in case. And let's see, what else do you need? So you obviously need ice. You need more garnish things. So I've got some fresh mint here. I've got some tarragon, and I'll tell you why I have tarragon in a minute. Normally in a Moscow Mule, you'll have your vodka. Sometimes when you have a virgin Moscow Mule, people will do bitters of some kind. Now, I was gonna do these orange bitters, but I looked at them. Here's the thing. I did an Instacart moment, which I don't ever do. I normally always go to the grocery store, but I was feeling some type of way yesterday. So instead, I did an Instacart thing, and I just, it's a shopper goes and they collect all of your items, and then you go and you pick them up when they're ready. You pay for it online on your phone through an app or whatever, and then you go and you pick them up when they're ready. Now, as far as I've read, bitters are typically considered non-alcoholic, although the alcohol content is pretty high. And the reason is because you typically use literally like a teaspoon. So it doesn't end up equating to anything that would get you drunk or anything. But so that there's no alcohol whatsoever, and because, yeah, I just want to be super, super careful and deliver y'all a super, super safe alternative to the traditional Moscow Mule. We're gonna skip that. The other thing that we're skipping is a botanical blend by the name of Wilderton Luster that's recommended on this website that I've given y'all, ReneeNicolesKitchen.com, and it apparently has undertones of lavender, bitter orange, which is why I even got this in the first place, and tarragon. Now, this bottle is somewhere close to $30 on its own. And I was just like, I already spent more than I intended. So that'll be for next time. So if you have the money to shell out for an extra $30 just for that one specific aspect, I'm sure it adds something nice to it because you're not having the alcohol. So I'm sure it adds something that's really cool. And then you also need like a shaker or a mason jar with a lid that's separate from the one for the simple syrup for the purpose of shaking up your drink and mixing it together once you have all of your ingredients. So let's just do that now, shall we? So I've got my ice here. Now, don't y'all judge me. I haven't mixed a drink with or without alcohol in a really long time. Even longer for the alcoholic ones. But I think I hardcore made a serious mocktail with like lots of different like ingredients in it. Gosh, it was probably a couple years ago around like the holidays. Like it was probably around like Thanksgiving or something. So that's probably what happened there. So I've got some ice going on here, and then that's going to be set to the side. I've got this ginger beer. I'm going to put that in. That actually might be a good amount of stuff. This is so tiny. It doesn't look like a lot, but apparently it's enough. Okay, so then got my homemade, for the first time ever, lime simple syrup. So I'm just gonna take, one little spoonful here to start. Maybe I'll do a little bit more, just like a little half, because this is probably gonna be really sweet. I don't want it to be too sweet. So we got that going on. And why not? Just gonna squeeze a little extra lime in there because I can. It's okay. Got that going on. We'll obviously save the garnishes for the very end. I'll plop this little lid on. This is just my fiance's little Yeti bottle here. I'm a little nervous to spill this all over the place. Oh, and it's a little bit messy. I'm so glad you can't see it. Okay. So we got that going on. I'm just gonna pour it in my fancy schmancy cup here. I'm actually gonna get a little bit more ice because I want more. It needs to really be dazzling, in my personal opinion. Like really, really make it look lovely here. And then we might just cap off this beef with a little more ginger beer. Okay, so we've got that going on. Then we're gonna add our mint leaves and our tarragon pieces. Boom, boom, boom. And then I've got my little pre-cut lime here. And there you have it. Can you see? Can you see? Yeah, it's my little homemade Moscow Mule, virgin Moscow Mule. Cheers. That's nice. Mm-hmm. Also, the smell of mint is so lovely and refreshing. Yes. Okay. So that's like a relatively simple recipe that just requires a little bit more upfront with the homemade simple syrup vibe. And I decided to do that because I just, you know, she said that you could buy the simple syrup, but it was really hard to find lime specific simple syrup. And I also was kind of curious about how it would turn out just cooking it from scratch. And that is very simple. There's only 3 ingredients, just water, lime zest, lime juice, which is also part of the lime. And then the granulated sugar, which I didn't have the limes already, but I had sugar on deck. We've got water, of course. So yeah, so there's that. Next time I will love to try the Wilderton Luster. I'm gonna have to like get it for my birthday, which is next month or something. Maybe that's what I'll do. Ooh, a little self-gift. Some little recommendations here. Instead of ginger ale, you can use, instead of ginger beer, you can use ginger ale if you want it to be a little bit sweeter. Use non-alcoholic ginger beer. Make the simple syrup ahead of time, which I've shared before. Use a botanical blend as, you know, recommended, just to give you a little bit more depth of flavor. And then you can sub, instead of lime simple syrup, you can make a mint simple syrup, which the recipes for the lime simple syrup and the mint simple syrup are linked in this recipe for this Virgin Moscow Mule by Renee Nicole. For garnish, you can use cucumbers and pomegranate arils. I've never heard of that word before attached to pomegranate, but you can use those for garnish instead. You can add sparkling water if you want to taper down some of the sweetness. So those are just little moments there. The other thing is I wanted to just update y'all on my CBD game really quickly. This video ended up being about the length of a normal episode. Let's go. Okay, I'm not mad. Okay, so they changed their name recently and I forget, but Lunchbox Alchemy is what their name used to be. It's like they changed in some aspect of their name. But I get the dailies. They're 1,500 milligrams and they're fire. Again, 0.3% THC. So like, they do have completely THC free ones. I haven't tried those yet, but these, because I saw that the amount of THC that's in these is the same amount, or even a little less than the 0.5% alcohol that's in most non-alcoholic beers, wine, so on and so forth. So it's just like, you're not going to get high. You're not going to get drunk. So if that's a fear, if that's a concern, you don't have to worry. So I've this might even be the same brand, honestly. Anyway, we'll find out. Lunchbox Alchemy, or which I don't have currently in this moment. Lazarus Naturals is this brand. Really cool. They have different types. This one is Calm. It's full spectrum CBD, 25 milligrams of CBD per gummy. What's really dope also, if you live in Florida, is these CBD companies are required to put a QR code on here. And I've talked about this before in my CBD episode, which was forever ago. That you can scan it with your phone and basically you can find out the results and find out if there actually is as much THC in here as they claim. So that's really cool. You can just like double check. So these are fire. I'm always a fan of like half a gummy first, because I just think that's wisdom. Because I've had a couple moments where I've taken a full one and I just didn't feel great. I didn't feel high, but I just felt like either a little bit nauseous or just like, I don't know, my heart wasn't connecting with it. Just, my tolerance is like -85 because I haven't had real weed or alcohol in almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in the summer time, in August. So, even something that's like nothing is still like, you have to have it in small quantities, girl. So half, and if I'm feeling a little bit like I need a little bit more, not even whole at that point, half, and then half of that half. So I literally only have like 75% of a CBD gummy at all times, max. I never have a whole one. That's just how I roll. So you might be different than me. But that's these. These I use way less because I just do. I feel like getting used to CBD tinctures just takes me longer. It just hasn't worked out super great for me in the past, but these are pretty chill. When I do dare to use them, not that they're dangerous, but just like, I'm just like, all right, these might not have any kind of calming effect on me at all. And it'll be a waste of time, in my opinion, to use them personally for my body chemistry, but I've had some good experiences. So, but because I think it's because I use the CBD gummies more when I do use them. So I'm more used to how my body reacts to these, and that's what it's just easier to reach for those. But this is also same brand as these specific CBD gummies, Lazarus Naturals. This is THC-free CBD tincture. These are actually both THC-free. This one is 1,500 milligrams of CBD in total. It's a blood orange flavor. And it's 50 milligrams of CBD per milliliter. Again, with that little QR code, love that. So these are fire. These, this one I think I've only tried one time. But this one is a different company. It's called R&R, the CBD that works. Let's go. This one's also THC-free, organic broad spectrum, 1,000 milligrams, so a little bit less than the Lazarus Naturals. It's fresh mint flavor. So this is what that looks like. And then this one has like a little tiny QR code. So that's my CBD. Those are my CBD recs for right now. That's all I got. I wish I could play y'all an intro song or an outro song, which is the same song. But yeah, until I get another camera, we're gonna rock it like this whenever I do the video. So yes, if you are wanting to do this Virgin Moscow Mule, please visit ReneeNicolesKitchen.com. Hook yourself up with making that simple syrup with at least, give yourself like an hour and a half, 2 hours before you would need the drinks to be ready, because you want to give this time to cool. You want to give yourself time to zest those lemons, because it does take a little bit of wrist work. Gather all of the things you need, including the aesthetic, for aesthetic purposes. You want to have your copper cup or your copper/stainless steel cup. Get the right ginger beer that's non-alcoholic. Get your herbs. Get your limes and give yourself space to get this Wilderton Luster Botanical Blend as well. So that's it. If you're not yet following me on social media, you can reach out under Destination Lavender on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. You can also just follow my Instagram on Destination Guyana, which is where I post everything else, yoga classes, music, and beyond. Please also let me know if you try this recipe or if you get to try the Wilderton Luster Botanical Blend before I do. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know if it like takes your non-alcoholic drink game to the next level or not. Aries season, we're already in here. It's upon us. But I'm gonna be 35 in a number of days. It's crazy. So more to report on that. Y'all take care. Until next time, until the next video, and until next month.